So, Paul,
So, John,
yeah, it's good to see you, mate.
it's
And just something that we might like to know, you
yeah,
might like to refresh my memory,
okay.
is how on earth did we find you, Paul, as our sound engineer?
Okay, so I was at the gig. It was the Royal Norfolk, and I
Yay,
was
Ron Norfolk, yay!
yeah, yeah, Royal Norfolk, and had a fun rocking time. And I think I might have been there with Martyn, but I can't remember because I don't know if you know Martyn Harris and I, our mums were in hospital at the same time, both due. We're both in the maternity hospital.
Oh, no, I
Um,
didn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we were actually born in the same hospital and went to the same primary school for years until I moved away from Folkestone and we moved to St Margaret's. Um, and uh, and then Martyn and I caught up for a number of years before he joined the band. Um, and then yeah, anyway. So I think I might have been at the Royal Norfolk with Martyn, but I can't remember who I was with because I wouldn't have been there on my own. And you at the end of the gig you said, "Oh, and if anyone's interested in being a sound engineer, come and see us after the gig." I went, "Oh yeah, that sounds like fun," because I like watching bands and I'm not much into drinking, so I went up and said, "Oh, I'll give it a crack," and you went, "Fantastic."
Ah,
And that was it. That was pretty much. I walked out of the audience and into the band. So
so I didn't ask you for a CV then.
no, not at all. No, no. I think I bought you a beer. Might have
Oh,
been a
yeah, you
CV
would have
enough.
been in. Yeah,
Hmm?
you would have been in.
Yeah.
So,
I think I was the only person who put their hands up for it. So
yeah, but
yeah.
Paul, obviously you had an aptitude for it. I know that. But do you remember then what happened? I just don't remember. You, yes, I know we had a desk, and of course we
Yep.
couldn't operate it on our own successfully.
No.
We'd realised the importance of having the desk. We bought mics for the drums and for
Yep.
the instruments, but
Yep.
then we found, yeah, you can't satisfactorily operate it on your own because you need someone listening.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously you must have
And
joined us
balance
at
it.
rehearsal.
Yeah, I did do some rehearsals with you. So I think that's probably where I learned some of the stuff because it was completely new to me. I had no idea what I was doing. Luckily, you guys knew how to put all the speakers and the amps and everything together. Um, but I've always had a good ear, so I knew what I was listening for. Um, and actually got by with that because the desks back in those days. I mean, what they only three band EQ and a pan, and that was about it. The gain and some of the microphones, they weren't pushing out too much impedance, so they barely picked anything up. So yeah, so the preamps on the desk weren't that hot, but yeah, well, I mean, we got through it. I think Milos a Melos echo chamber, I think we were using for echo with the tape loops.
Yeah.
Very rarely worked. And we ended up with a little digital Roland box, which really struck down, benefited a whole lot from that. I remember that being a fairly key piece of equipment. We lasted with a 1500-watt rig for pretty much the whole time I was with you, I think. Um, those big bass bins and a couple of tuba
Yeah.
12s on top, and that was it.
Uh, Kind of outrageous in those days to be doing pub gigs with a 1500-watt PA
Oh, it was
system.
loud. I mean, I can still hear it. I can still hear it. I carry the legacy of Denigh in my head, so I have done for years.
I don't I don't know what bands are doing now, but uh, I don't. think there were any other local bands.
No, no, it was mostly
That,
backline, and they had something for the. I mean, you guys even had monitors, so I mean, I had to do a monitor mix as well. So that was, mostly for Johnny, but
yeah, poor old Johnny at the back.
yeah, yeah. Remember
I
having to.
can't imagine what his perspective or his sound would have been without a monitor.
Well,
Uh,
you wouldn't have heard the vocals, that's for sure. And I remember a number of times saying, "Look, if you don't turn down the back line, I'm going to have to switch the desk off because we can." Everything is arguing with everything else. It was, and as the night goes on and everything seems to get quieter and quieter, and you want to boost the energy, it's natural to want to turn everything up. But thank God the Marshall didn't go to 11. That's all I can say.
I do have recollections of you doing that, saying that, and because you used to speak with us through the monitors,
Oh,
and
yeah, I think I did. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I can remember you saying exactly that. There was me earlier covering my mouth because, of course, it was all Phil's fault.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
too
yeah,
loud.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, I mean, what did he have? He had a 100-watt Marshall head.
Ian as well, actually, probably Ian as well. Uh,
Ian only had a combo. Um,
yeah, but he always had it too loud. I was
hmm.
the boy. I always kept my bass really quiet.
Yeah, yeah. I remember
Yes,
Johnny always wanted he wanted Roger Taylor's drum sound, and I said, Johnny, I can't do that live. I'm sorry, you know. And he wanted the thunder of Roger Taylor. I mean, I don't know if you've really listened to the drums on any Queen albums, but man, I mean, it sounded like thunder in the mountains, and they would have spent hours, days getting that drum sound right in a studio. You know, but
yeah.
that was what Johnny was looking for live. Yeah, you can't do that with a couple of bass bins and a couple of tuba 12s.
I do recall as well. Johnny always because we're always trying to get rid of the ring from the
Yeah,
drums, and of course, it meant basically deadening the drums, wasn't it? To let the PA do the job,
yeah, yeah,
let the
yeah. And then
desk.
these days they do a whole bunch of other things. I mean, even a lot of drummers don't even use they look like they're playing acoustic drums, but they use triggers and they trigger MIDI sounds, or trigger samples through MIDI. So yeah, I mean, it's the early days. I mean, gee whiz, really.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, going back to
sorry.
those early days. Any other things? Anything in particular that you remember or liked, proud of, weren't proud of?
Oh, for me, about the band, or I mean,
Yeah.
I always thought the band was the best band in the area without any question.
Sorry, I
There
missed.
was never any question. I always felt that Denigh was the best band around. There was really nothing to compare in the definitely not in the local scene, and certainly nothing I'd heard south of London. No, it was as good as you guys. Um, you really had to get onto the major circuits to hear anything, and that was usually not better songwriting, but better well, better. Well, I don't want to say better gear because it doesn't come down to the gear, but sometimes it does come down to the gear, and they just had more presence because they had better PA or so a more sophisticated rig, somebody who knew what they were doing behind the desk. Um, and I remember Phil and I and Deb and Sue went up to, I can't remember where. It was somewhere in South London to see, I think it was White Spirit. and we saw Chevy and I can't remember what was it Samson?
Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson's band before he joined Iron Maiden, and it was a step up, you know. It was a bigger room, it was a more full PA um
And the
and a more
lights.
full sound and a light show. I mean, yeah, that's right. Um, so yeah, I mean, sure, there were other bands, but when I think about what we did with what little we had, you know, the songs and the music carried. Um, I'm getting a thing here saying we're running out of time. Um, yeah, it was uh, the quality of the material. There was no question it was up there. Um, maybe just the opportunity didn't come around, you know. I mean,
Well,
uh,
there's a lot of things, aren't there, that we could say happened, and a lot
yeah,
of things.
yeah.
But so yeah, just moving on from. I know. I
Hmm.
guess we're running. I don't know how many
10
minutes
minutes.
or
10.
we have left.
Yeah, 10
Um,
minutes. Yeah.
but maybe briefly then, we. I'm interested to know what. So what do you think of the new material that is on Back in the Game? Um, Tell us, Paul.
Look,
Are
I think
we
it's great. It's different.
are we in the
It's not
mark?
but it's more mature, and as you would expect. It is a different sound, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's evolution. It's not it even after all these years of inactivity, the spirit of the band is still there. Without any question, the quality of the songwriting is still there. I think your voice is as good as ever been, if not better, to be honest. And
I've been impressed myself with what I've been able to do.
yeah, yeah, and no, it's I think because um, Ian went off and had his own career with other bands and doing his own other material. He went off and had another experience. So Denigh went off and did one thing, and then Ian went off and did, you know, his other thing, and then you come back together with those different experiences, and you've created something that's a bit of both, which I think is fabulous. You know, I mean, Ian didn't have any synthesizers when, I mean, there was no computer generated music back in those days. There were no synths. Oh, there were, but Ian didn't have one. He had the Whirly, and that was about it. So he played guitar and the Wurlitzer. Um, so you know, he's able to add different flavor to the music. So I think it's fabulous.
Well,
Um,
obviously,
I can't
Ian
wait
and
to
I,
see what else you do. Yeah.
yeah, Ian and I have spoken about it,
Mm,
and we kind of came to the conclusion that's notwithstanding as you pointed out, the different experiences that Ian's had and the things that I've done, and
mm,
now we come back together. We're bringing all those things to one place, but uh, also in those very early days, we did have the keyboards in the band, and we were probably with Ian in the band. We weren't a really hard rock band. Uh, um, there was the melody, if you like, and
yeah.
the subtleness of the keyboards in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, it was electric
we have
piano. Yeah.
thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
we have thought that possibly we're continuing with the material maybe more like it would have been had Ian stayed in the band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, when it was just me and Phil and Johnny, we needed a different kind of delivery and a different approach to uh, get those songs out there because there were only three of us.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I appreciate exactly what you say, and I'm glad you like our new songs. We also like, me and Ian like revisiting some of the old songs. As you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we revisited and completely changed Stage Fright. I don't know
Yes.
how many people remember Stage Fright from the old days. Um, but we have really reinvented stage fright. But of course, on the album, one of the bonus tracks, Better Nails, which we've since put a little video out.
Yep.
When we did Better Nails, it was on a whim. We were just knocking around in Studio One, realised that I'd played that song so many times that if you cut me in half, all the words are in the rings, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how many times I have mixed Bed of Nails. I couldn't even guess how many times I've mixed Bed of Nails live. And it's still got an energy to it that jabs you up the bum, you know. there's, there's there's certain parts of that song that I just want to push the faders, you know. That when the guitars kick in, when the turn them all up to 11, yeah, make everything louder than everything else, you know. And you just want to. It's just one of those songs. It's one of your anthems. That, and I suppose Foxy, Struck Down in the City. You know, I mean, they're bloody struck down. I mean, how many times? How did I ever stop your mic from feeding back when you wandered out into the crowd in front of the PA, you bugger? You know, I have no idea how I managed to stop the feedback on that, but you did. I mean, I remember the first time you ever did it, we put an extra long mic lead on it because you used to almost get to the bar at the Norfolk when you when you went out into the crowd. You took your bass off and you went out into the crowd and did the chorus.
That.
Oh my God. It used to give me paroxysms. How am I going to stop this from feeding back? The whole PA is going through the vocal mic, you know. But we rarely had I mean, that might be your technique, but we rarely had a problem. But, you know.
I wonder if we'll revisit Struck Down.
Struck Down is just one of those songs that I could, mix it in my sleep. It's
but you mentioned Foxy, and I was
Foxy,
I was going through the Facebook pages recently, scrolling down because of course it appears, doesn't it, on Facebook? It all goes down there.
Yeah. It's Toilet Roll, yeah.
And I noticed Sue's comment about why is it I can remember all the words of Foxy, but I can't remember where I put my glasses?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You know,
I mean, Foxy is such a favourite of the band, and you know, of everybody, of all our friends. You know, all the all the faithful guys. You know, because Foxy was it's a great song.
We should talk about that one as well sometime because it would be interesting to know a little bit more. I think it was anyway, how that came about. Meanstreak is another one. I mean, we liked that song so much, we actually had the lyrics printed on the back of the T-shirts that we made the first time we did T-shirts. It was, you know, and the Loco box flanger that Phil used for the beginning of that was a bit iconic, you know. So remember when he got that. So
it's no secret now, but of course, Ian and I have revisited Meanstreak, and it will be on the next album.
Oh wow! Okay, wow, that's great. It's a great song.
Yeah, and the revisit is good.
Yeah,
it was in the background. I think it was playing in the background of our one of the recent videos that we've done for. It wasn't the Christmas one, which was totally mad with some idiot jumping around with a wig on.
Sue
it was
cried.
the other one.
Sue
review.
cried. Sue cried. That doesn't happen when she watched the Christmas video. Oh no, the thank you, video. Yeah.
Yeah, we comment about that too.
Mm,
But Paul, me and Karen cried.
right.
Well, I had wet eyes uh, because Carl did that video and sprung it on us on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. It was a
So
beautiful tribute.
We'll see you next time.